stop obsessing and worrying about getting back to what your life looked like before. Your age is not a barrier. If I would have believed all the lies that were circulating through my head and a lot of the lies that society wants to tell us women and middle age, right? That I was too old to start over, that I was damaged goods, I would never have the life that I have now. Hey, mama. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Wellness Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Amber Shaw. Thank you for being with me today. I'm so grateful to be in your ear. And so if you are a woman who is in midlife and you are going through a difficult season, when I say midlife, I really mean you're over the age of 35, over the age of 40, and you are struggling, whether that is struggling in your weight loss journey, which I know so many of you who are listening to this show you've got some weight loss goals, or maybe you just can't seem to move forward post-divorce. Or maybe you're in the middle of a divorce and you are feeling very lost and broken and really, really struggling. Or maybe there's even another life uncertainty where you're just feeling stuck. I've got 3 important reminders that I want to share with you today. And listen, here's the thing. Even if you're listening to this, you're not necessarily going through a hard time. I want you to bookmark this episode because, we all go through difficult seasons of our life. That is the ebb and the flows, the ups and the downs of life. And so I want you to save this because I really do feel that anyone can benefit from these 3 reminders, especially if you are working to build a better life for yourself. And as always, my mission of this show is to help women to really build and live a freaking life they love and live their best damn life. But before I dive into these 3 things, I want to remind you that I have a free 5-day mini course. This is the free 5-day Crush Life Bootcamp. It is also the perfect way to really reframe your perspective of your life, to get unstuck and to really start chasing and going after what you truly want for yourself. This 5-day mini course is 100% designed to give you a step-by-step guide on achieving what you thought was impossible for your life. Because trust me, if anybody knows it, it's me. It is possible to make change in your life. You just really have to first start by believing it. So you can check that out right now by heading over to products.ambershaw.com/crush life. You can also find that link in the show notes. So, okay, let's dive into today's episode. So the first reminder that I want to share for all women in midlife, whether you're going through a difficult season or you're not, the very first thing that's so important that we all need to remind ourselves is to stop obsessing and worrying about getting back to what your life looked like before. And in order to really start to move forward in your life and actually make some change and to get out of this difficult season, instead of spending so much time worrying about and obsessing over the past, it's about focusing on the future. Now, I know that this is not as easy as it sounds. If you are somebody who is maybe struggling in your body, God, it can be so easy. And I get this because at 45, is my body different than what it was in my 20s and 30s? Well, hell yeah, it is, right? And it can be very hard when you feel like your body's been hijacked to really be holding on to the way your body looked then, right? But because of different factors in our life, right? Age, hormones, all the things like, giving birth, all of that, like you may be holding on to a holy grail that's impossible, an impossible holy grail. Now, am I saying that it's impossible to like look good, feel good in your 40s? Absolutely not. Hell no. In fact, I think I look better in my 40s than I did in my 20s and 30s. But it's just really, my point is not holding yourself sometimes to these impossible standards, right? The other side of that, if you are somebody who's maybe going through divorce, or you've been through a divorce, this is post-divorce for you. like really going through that grieving process of letting go of the life you thought was supposed to be yours. God, I can remember this, and I do a lot of social media posts on this, that this was such a huge piece of my healing process, is just to stop focusing on the life that the family, that life, like the whole thing, the future, all of it that I really had dreamt about, that I thought was supposed to be mine, and letting go of that and accepting that my life is going to look different. That was really, really hard, but it wasn't until I moved to that point of acceptance. It wasn't until I really surrendered to that, of really letting go of the life that I thought was supposed to be mine, that I was able to move forward, and I was able to make change and get unstuck. So that is my first reminder, is to really focus on not obsessing over the past, and really looking to the future, staying present in the here and the now, and looking to what are the steps that you can do to make change, moving forward, not backwards. The second reminder that I want to share with you is that, when things get hard, right? When shit gets hard, and you have those days where you're feeling low, you're having that negative talk track, or you're feeling discouraged, or, you're feeling, just really like things feel impossible. The most important thing is not allowing yourself to believe that you aren't capable. That just because something's hard doesn't mean that you're not capable. I mean, honestly, all it means, girls, that you're doing hard things. And when you're doing hard things, it's not supposed to feel easy, right? It's supposed to feel uncomfortable. But this is where the change happens. And so I think it can be so easy sometimes, like, especially if you are, if you've got some goals you're trying to hit, or you're going through a difficult season in your life with a relationship, or whatever that looks like, if you feel like you've taken a step back and things are feeling really hard, or you've come into a situation that just feels impossible, it can be so easy just to like throw our hands up and be like, oh, okay, like I'm out, right? Like I'm not capable. I can't do this. In fact, I was actually just having this conversation with somebody, with my business mentor, actually just the other day, and we were talking about, God, as an entrepreneur, you have to be able to lean into, you don't have another choice of, like, when shit gets hard, not going down that rabbit hole of thinking you're not capable, because you'd never last. Like, because being an entrepreneur is tough. It's hard, and you're always going to have these ups and these downs, but it's the same in life as well. Like, you cannot give up on the first sign of things being difficult, right? You cannot attach yourself to the thought that just because something's hard, right? And maybe it's not going the way you want it to go, or maybe all these emotions are coming up for you, or things feel really, really difficult. It just doesn't mean that you can't do it, right? Maybe it could require a pivot, right? Maybe it could require an analyzing the situation and figuring out, okay, like why can't I move forward? Or why is this so hard for me, right? But it doesn't mean you're not capable. It may just mean you need to do something a little bit differently, and that you're doing hard things. I can't emphasize that enough. And that you may need to just get a little uncomfortable, right? You may need to get a little uncomfortable to see the change. And the last one, and this was a big, big one for me as well, because when I was going through my like midlife upheaval, midlife interruption, like whatever you want to call it, back when I was turning 40, I was turning 40 and like 2 kids, middle of a divorce, like looking at starting over in my career, all of the things. And I got to tell you this reminder is that your age is not a barrier. Right? Your age is not a barrier. If I would have believed that lie, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you today. Like, if I would have believed all the lies that were circulating through my head, and a lot of the lies that society wants to tell us women and middle age, right? That I was too old to start over, that I was damaged goods, right? That I was never going to make it, that I was always going to struggle because I was going to be on my own because I was turning 40, I was too old, all the things. I would never have the life that I have now. I would never. And so to be honest with you, if you are somebody who is really believing in that lie, right, that you're too old to, hit that health goal, right? Or you're too old to start a new life, start a new chapter, step into the dream life that you've always wanted. I got to be honest with you. It's really just an excuse. And you're never going to be able to make the change and create that life you love without letting that go, right? You've got to let that go. Like, again, starting a new relationship, building a business, whatever it is, your age is not the thing that's holding you back. Your age is not the thing. It's actually the belief in your capabilities, right? The internal belief in yourself and your self-worth and your value, the belief that you can actually do it. That's really the barrier. It has nothing to do with your damn age. And so if you are somebody who's buying into that lie that you're too old to do whatever the thing is, I want you to check yourself. Because girl, I ain't got nothing to do with your age. There is a much deeper rooted issue going on there. Your lack of belief in yourself, that is the barrier that you need to pay attention to. So there you have it, short and sweet. I wanted to share with you just 3 important reminders that I really do think that all women over the age of 35 need to hear. So quickly to recap, number 1, stop obsessing over getting back to what life was in the past. And instead, start focusing on building a life you want for the future. Number 2, when shit gets hard, girl, it doesn't mean you can't do it. Doesn't mean you're not capable. All it means is that you're getting uncomfortable. And that's where the change happens. All it means is that you're doing hard things. And you should applaud yourself for that. And the third one is your age is not a barrier, and it will never be a barrier. So if you are feeling unstuck, don't forget to check out my free 5-day mini course, Crush Life Bootcamp. Again, this is your step-by-step guide on how to reclaim your friggin' life with living with more passion, more purpose, more vibrancy, right? And honestly, I got to tell you, I created this course because this is the exact blueprint that I wish I had 5 years ago when I was starting over at the age of 40, when I was feeling stuck in my soul-sucking job, when I was in the middle of my divorce. I wish I had this all mapped out for me in the way that I do in this 5-day mini course. Because for me, it was more of like a piecemeal DIY type situation. But some of these tools that I'm sharing with you in this 5-day mini course are the exact same course. It's the exact same tools that I use to create personal and financial freedom now that I help other moms over 35 come to realize. So in this 5-day mini course, you are going to discover your passions. I'm going to help you discover what you are great at, right? And also learn how to align them with a meaningful purpose. I'm also going to share with you a simple step-by-step practical exercises that identify what excites you and what drives you forward. You're going to learn doable ways to turn your passions into additional sources of revenue and work towards financial freedom and so much damn more. This is absolutely free. So head over and get your access by going over to products.ambershah.com/crush life. And you can also find the link to the show notes. So go check it out now. And thanks for joining me.